guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the two front rotors and the brake pads on a 2015 Nissan Quest minivan. Well, why do I have to go with the drill slotted rotors? Well, I'm going to tell you why. These rotors right here that I replaced, this is my second set. The first set, when I bought the minivan, the first set I replaced because the original brake rotor were warped. The steering wheel starts shaking when you brake, so that's why I replaced them. The first set was OEM set one, which is cost a lot of money, but it's only lasts me like 3 years, and then it started warping again. Now this one is an aftermarket one. I'm not sure what brand it was, but anyways, this one lasts me about 2.5 years. Then it starts to warp again. So that is why I want to try this drill slotted rotors and see if it's gonna warp. And I have been reading a lot online in the Nissan forum. A lot of people have the same issue with warp rotors. I think there's one of them that went through like 4 sets of rotors and it still warped. I'm not sure what happened. I think it's because of how heavy the van is, or the design of the brake system for the front, that's very rare. I mean, the brake rotors will last at least 6-7 years easy. I seen some last like 15 years on the life of the car, but on the Nissan Quest one, a lot of people have been having the problem. That's including me, with the warped front rotors. That's why I want to try this drill slotted rotor out to see if it's gonna last longer, because the drill slotted rotors it helps with the cooling on the brake. So this one is considered as my third set of rotors, and then I'm gonna see how long this one gonna last. So when you work on the front brakes, make sure you have little wheel chocks right here in the back. You see how I have 2 of them on each wheel? I mean, you can have just 1, that's fine. So I'd rather have 2 of them, just in case, safety purposes. Right here, this is where I'm gonna put my floor jack, right here. Jack it up right here. But before you jack it up, just prevent this one from bending, I use this little wood right here to put underneath this right here, between this point and the jack, so it wouldn't damage this little point right here. This is the height you want to jack it up to. As long as the tire lifts up above the ground, you're good. Now you need to put a jack stand underneath there, and that's the point where I put my jack stand at. And this is on the driver's side, same place. Put my jack stand right there. Now slowly release the floor jack, and what I usually do, once I release it down, let the van rest on the jack stand, kind of raise my floor jack up and leave it like that. It's for safety purposes. Now next step is to remove the wheel on both sides, this side and the other side. And this lug nut, you use 21mm. And if you do have an air tool, you can go ahead and jack the car up, that's fine. But if you don't have an air tool, don't jack the car up yet. You loosen the lug nut first and then jack up the car. Put the wheel underneath, so in case if all those jacks and the wheel chock fail, the van will land on the wheel. That's another safety feature that highly recommended. Another thing, before you start removing the bolts and stuff and the calipers, I would recommend turn the steering wheel to the right so you have easier access to it. Now you got plenty of room right here, see? When you turn this out, you got more room so you can remove those bolts. Now you want to remove this top bolt right here and one down here. And you use 17mm socket to remove these 2 bolts. That's one. There you go. Now don't let your caliper drop down like this, because it's gonna put too much tension on this brake line hose right here, and then it might cause, you know, damage to the hose, and you might have a brake fluid leak. I usually do just find a place. You can leave that right there and then get the string or some kind of rope, tie it up so it won't fall off. This is what I use right here. Just something to hold it in place. Remove the brake pad. You can see right here, still got plenty of life left, at least halfway down, so I'm gonna replace it anyway, since I'm replacing the new rotor. And the brake pad, they're a lifetime warranty from AutoZone, so you can replace as much as you want, unlimited, as long as you own your car. That's why I love AutoZone parts store. Most of their parts are lifetime warranty. It's a little bit higher, but it's well worth it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace them. This bolt right here, 22mm socket. And the bottom one, you can see that there's no screw holding the rotor on to the hub. So this one should be pretty easy just to remove it. See, it's already loose. You want to clean out this rust off of here. Just use a wire brush. Just start brushing. Get all the rust off. You can also use a small one too. Try to get the rust off the best you can. It didn't have to be perfect. Just as long as get the majority of the rust off. Clean the thread too. And after that, spray it with the brake cleaner. Go ahead and wipe it. Now, how to tell which rotor goes to which side. The only way you can tell is that look at the design right here. See how it curved up like that? This is on the front passenger side, and this one is gonna be on the front driver's side. But if you decide this one to be on the passenger side, it's gonna turn like this. That's wrong direction. You want this to turn like this right here. This is where it curves. That's when the wheel moves forward. This one's the correct rotor for the front passenger side. Now most aftermarket rotors, high performance rotors, or any rotors out there, they usually coat it with oil or some kind of rust repellent onto the rotor. So you want to make sure to clean it with the brake cleaner. Just spray the brake cleaner onto the paper towel and just wipe it off. And do the same thing on the back. Now put the rotor on. You see how the rotor keep coming off? A good way to do it is use your lug nut. Just put one lug nut on there to hold the rotor up. Now the rotor is not moving. And the new brake pads comes with the shims, but it doesn't come with the shims. You need to keep reusing the old parts, okay? Since my new brake pads comes with the shim, you want to remove this one and replace it with the new one. And before you put the new one on, make sure to clean all the rust out. Right there. Right there, you can just use a wire brush, brush it off. That looks pretty good right there. Now this is the new shim right here. We're gonna put this on. Make sure it popped in. Looks like this side's not in yet. There we go. Now it's in. Looks good right there. Another one. That one's in. See this little tab right here? I mean, you'll only go on one way. You can see right there. Kind of angled down. Same on this side. Right there. Alright, now go ahead and reinstall the brake caliper holder. And before you install the brake caliper holder on the bolt, make sure to put a little bit of Loctite on there so it would hold the bolt so it wouldn't come out. I need just a little bit, that's it. Not much. Do the same for the bottom bolt. Now torque this bolt down to 90 foot-pounds. Before you install the new brake pad, make sure to put a little bit of synthetic grease on here and on the back, not right here. Put it on the back. This is what I use right here. Synthetic brake and caliper grease. You want to use the synthetic grease because don't use any grease or any other grease out there because it will damage the boot. Now you need to put a little bit of grease on here. And all you do is just put it right here from on the back and on the back of this right here. And right here. This one on this side you don't have to, because this one is facing the rotor. So this one you don't have to, just the back and the bottom and the side. And on the back, just lightly grease. Just put a thin layer of grease on here. Doesn't have to be much. And you want to put just a little bit of grease onto the shim. Right there. And you do the same thing on the other side of the brake pad. And I usually leave my little wear indicator in the back right here from the top. So you can do it that, or you can leave it, you know, use it for this side, doesn't matter. That's on the wear indicators. It's on there. You'll be good. It's on the back. And a thin layer of grease on here. And a little bit of grease on the shim. Before you install the caliper, you need to push that caliper down, all the way down. But before pushing the caliper down, you need to open the brake reservoir cap. So when you push it down, it wouldn't have too much pressure in there. And then you don't want to push this down while the cap is on, because you're gonna build too much pressure inside the line and you can bust the brake line on the car. Go ahead, open the cap. And just wipe this off a little bit. Try to clean it up real good. Get all the dirt out. Also, don't forget that this kit comes with the wire to hold the brake pad together. So be sure to install this one too. There's gonna be a little hole right here on each brake pad. You just put it in. And the bottom one. Basically, it's like a little spring just hold the brake pad together. I use this one right here, brake piston compressor. You can buy this anywhere at auto parts store or a Harbor Freight store. It's pretty cheap. This one is to compress the piston in. So what I do, I use the old brake pad. Put it right here. Put the compressor right here. Make sure to compress the pistons all the way down. You see, it's all the way down now, flush. Now before you install the brake caliper, this is the brake caliper bolt. See that grease right there? That's an old grease. Make sure to clean it off real good. The bottom one too. And then use the brake caliper synthetic grease on there. Just lightly coat it and reinstall the bolts. This one is a slider and a bolt all in one. You can see right here there's a difference. You see this little right here? This one is the top bolt, which just goes on to the top. And this one that didn't have that little, it's not black color right here, goes to the bottom. Go ahead and lightly coat it. Do not put the synthetic grease onto the thread, because you're gonna change the torque specs on it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to over tighten it and break it off. That's another one for the bottom. And torque these bolts down to 54 foot-pounds. Now straighten up the steering wheel and put the tire back on. Don't forget to remove this lug nut right here. What I usually do is I'm kinda use the impact to start the lug nut thing, but not tighten it yet, just to get it started. you tighten the lug nut, make sure to do in crisscross pattern. Now you don't want to torque the lug nut while the wheel's up in the air. You want to lower it down first. Once the wheel hit the ground, then you can torque the lug nut. Now you want to torque it at 85 foot-pound. And you want to tighten the lug nut in a crisscross pattern. Remember that. So the wheel will be flush evenly. If you just do it one side at a time, the wheel might be wobbly. It won't be flush with the rotor. Now the last step, after you torque in a crisscross pattern, double check torque again, one by one. That's it. Pretty simple and easy, but make sure you take your time on it. Don't get in a rush because you're gonna forget something. And I mean, the brake part that I had, it doesn't cost anything. It's lifetime. So basically the brake pads are free. And the rotor that I replaced, this one doesn't cost that much. It's like the whole kit cost me like I think around $150 for the front set. So plus you get the high performance. It will help the van brake easily and increase the stopping power better than the regular rotor. Plus I had to change it because the old rotor warped, that's why. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it and learn something today. Not only that, you get to save a lot of money on the brake job, because changing the rotor and the brake will cost more than just changing the brake pads at the auto shop store or at the Nissan dealership. I'm pretty sure you can save at least $200 or $300 right here just to replace the front rotors and the brake pad. And the last thing, remember that you have to open the cap to push the pistons in. Make sure to close the cap. And after that, you go inside the car, pump the brake, make sure it has pressure. That's it. Thanks for watching.